News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, we begin with the latest on the push to end the war in Ukraine. The Kremlin says Russian President Vladimir Putin held, quote, very useful talks with White House envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. But once again, those discussions ended without a breakthrough to end the fighting. Tony Halpin leads Bloomberg's Russia coverage.
They said they were constructive discussions, very informative. They talked about receiving more detailed documents from the U.S. that they need to study. But there was little actual substance on which they agreed. And Kremlin policy aide Yuri Ushakov basically told reporters that there were crucial areas such as the territorial question on which they didn't agree and that there would be much more work needed.
Bloomberg's Tony Halpin reports attention now turns to a NATO foreign ministers meeting today in Brussels to discuss the alliance's support for Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is not expected to attend.
Well, back in Washington, Nathan, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is speaking for the first time about a suspected drug boat strike that has him facing accusations of possible war crimes. During a White House cabinet meeting heard live on Bloomberg Radio, Hegseth said he wasn't watching when a Navy admiral ordered a second strike on the vessel on September 2nd.
As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
Secretary Hegseth says he learned the full sequence of events a couple hours later, and he says Admiral Frank Bradley made the right call to sink the boat and eliminate the threat. Not all lawmakers are convinced. Ted Lieu is vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus.
I served on active duty as a JAG for 4 years and then an additional 21 years in the reserves. And let me be very clear, killing shipwreck survivors is a war crime.
And Republican Senator Tom Tillis is calling the second strike a violation of ethical, moral, and legal code. The top Republican and Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee plan to meet with Admiral Bradley tomorrow.
Karen, we have some key election results this morning. Yes, it was an election day. A couple races that drew national attention. Let's bring in Bloomberg's John Tucker to get the details. John.
And Nathan, a special election in Tennessee allows Republicans to keep their razor-thin majority in Congress. The winner, Matt Van Epps, had no apologies for being hardcore MAGA.
This is President Trump's party. I'm proud to be a part of it and can't wait to get to work.
Van Epps receiving 54% of the vote to Democrat challenger Afton Bain's 45, a margin of 9 points. Not as great as some would have thought for a region President Trump won by 22 points. For Bain, it signals a future of change.
And we may not have won tonight, but we changed the story of what's possible here. And we're not done. Not by a long shot.
Well, the special election was called to fill the vacant seat once held by now former Congressman Mark Green, a Republican who resigned in July. I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, John, thank you. Well, the Trump administration is poised to undo Biden-era fuel efficiency standards, which it blames for driving up the cost of new cars. And Bloomberg's Amy Morris reports from Washington.
The administration is expected to propose standards that are less stringent than those finalized under former President Biden. The move is the latest in President Trump's push to dismantle policies he criticizes as an EV mandate. The Trump administration has argued that artificially high fuel economy requirements have pushed the price of a new car out of reach for many Americans. Still, easing fuel economy requirements is not likely to bring down car prices because car makers plan those lineups years in advance. In Washington, Amy Morris, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.